most people, a degree in linguistics does not necessarily translate into a lifetime of adventure. Yet for Denny Moore, it came to mean just that. This is the story of a CUNY graduate who became a MacArthur Fellow and his tireless effort to preserve the language and culture of the people of the Amazon forest. It is 1975, and an American linguist, Denny Moore, is on his way to the Gavião village in Rondônia, western Brazil.
To get in, we'd have to charter a boat or go in or catch a ride with somebody who was going in. There's no other way to reach it. There was a little community there. There were about, at that time, I think about 135 Gavião when I got there. The population had dropped and was coming back. This group was called Gavião, which means the hawks. They actually call themselves the hawks. They call the language. I managed to get a house that was not used and fix that up so that it was more or less habitable and set up a workspace there.
Denny is eager to start collecting data for his doctoral thesis on indigenous languages. But first, he will need to learn the language of the forest.
Little by little, I was trying to learn what I could about the tropical forest. The indigenous people would give me tips on what I was supposed to be doing. In the end, I think I learned perhaps 5% of what they know after 2.5 years, maybe only 2%. You know, people hunt in Michigan. This is a whole other level.
Born as Dennis A. Moore in 1945, Denny grew up near the city of Midland, Michigan, the home of the Dow Chemical Company.
We lived on a farm outside the city. My father worked for Dow Chemical. Everybody in Midland, wants to be a chemical engineer. So I decided to be a chemical engineer, but it didn't really appeal to me that much. There was always this scientific part, and there was also the farm part and the forest. So I became interested in anthropology and became interested in doing field research.
Yet after graduating from the University of Michigan, Denny got involved in field research of a very different kind.
I graduated in '66, and so it's very hard to stay away from the draft. The Vietnam War was on. I was in the Army for almost 2 years, and I was trained to be a combat medic, which was useful later because I treated very many indigenous people.
After getting out of the Army, he applied to a graduate school under the GI Bill, this time in New York City.
I lived in the East Village on the block of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang. It was, probably cheap in those days. I think it's changed considerably now.
The Graduate Center, at that time housed in the famous Aeolian building on 42nd Street, offered a new PhD program in anthropology and linguistics, and after being accepted, Denny was eager to find a suitable topic for his doctoral dissertation.
And someone told me that the most understudied languages were in New Guinea and in Amazonia. So I looked for all this information, went to the 42nd Street Library and dug out old things. There were languages in western Brazil, in what was then a territory called Rondônia, that were branches of the Tupi family, which is an important language family, which had almost no studies. And there were groups there who, on the maps, were listed as hostile and warlike and so on. Well, I thought, well, that's great. Let me go there. They sound like my kind of guys.
After a year spent in the village, Denny is slowly building trust with the local community.
I'm one of the few white people who've seen the Oichichia spirits. And the shaman, he would narrate what was going on up in the sky. And up in the sky, things are like what they are down on Earth. You have a forest and you have different villages and so on. The spirits appear before you there in the dark, and they talk, but they speak in different language. They speak the language of the Arara. They learn this from them. And people respond to these things. There were all these things that were going on. It was sort of like an ongoing drama, and that you would tune in to see what was going to happen.
Yet, Denny will need to do much more to earn their respect.
At some points, I was treating 2 cases of malaria per week. I brought in medicines and vaccinated the lower round of children 3 times. After I left, whooping cough came in, and everybody that I vaccinated escaped. The more you do for the community, the more people feel that you're part of the group.
With this well-earned reputation, Denny was finally able to start working on his linguistic research. Little did he know, he was in for a surprise. Turns out, the Gaviao were speaking a tonal language.
In English, you have things that are different only by stress, decent, descent. So those are contrastive. There, it's not stress, it's contrastive, it's the tone. So it gives you a different word if you change that. For example, there's 4 words, mungup, 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 mungup. All those are different if you could hear the tone.
On top of that, they were able to communicate words and concepts by whistling to each other.
After you see what it is in the language, oh God, they must be all geniuses to speak this.
Denny's research, however, went far beyond the exploration of language.
There's the anthropological aspect that you can tell from language, you can tell a lot of things about prehistory. 2P classification correlates with the genetic data. So little by little, we get closer to seeing what happened. But someone has to go there and get the data.
In the early 1980s, after earning his PhD from the Graduate Center, Denny started working at Museu Goeldi. Located in the city of Belem, at the mouth of the Amazon River, this research institute offered something no other institute could.
It occurred to me one day, well, this is the place you could set up a program to train people, taking students from other universities to manufacture enough linguists, Brazilian linguists, and to set up infrastructure necessary where we could do this documentation. We've been documenting cultural things along with the language. There's a huge demand for this amongst the indigenous people. You've got the music, you've got the myths, you've got the stories, the things that are of interest to people in the culture that they want to document. That's been very good for a cultural revival. The younger people have been very interested to know, well, how do you make fire? How do you find the right clay? How do you mold the thing? Whatever you do today, in 20 years, it's gold. That knowledge is there locked in, and it's well documented, so that will not be lost. It can be done, but you have to fire up and don't stand there.
In 1999, Denny's efforts to document and preserve the languages and customs of the people of the Amazon was recognized by the MacArthur Foundation. Now officially retired, Denny still frequently travels to Rondonia.
I'm going back to the Gavião because they're doing a survey of the frontiers because they suspect that people have been coming in there and stealing wood and doing other things. So they need somebody to train them to do this, and they need somebody to take care of the technology. So,
reflecting back, he often wonders how much of this was really a matter of his own design.
When I left, I was never sure how much I decided to do and how much they sort of maneuvered me into doing it one way. I think they got the most out of me. So they still have me, going out there and doing all kinds of things whenever I can. And they're nice to me and so on. So they let me participate and so on. So then I'm happy. So, they keep me tuned up.
Aí nós estamos atrás para matar, né? Anta, o queixada também, né?